Hello, everyone. I'm Nick, and today we're going to be making a tier list out of the Sekiro Shadows Die Twice bosses. We're going to be ranking them A through F, or I mean S through F. And Sekiro, it's a unique game because it has a ton of mini bosses, like smaller bosses that are not required at all. Um, or they don't have like a remembrance. I will not be ranking those bosses for the sake of time, because if I were to rank those bosses, then this game would have like 50 bosses, and that's ridiculous. And honestly, most of the mini bosses are just the same thing. Like they're the same five enemies, just reskinned. Um, so I won't be ranking all of those, but I will be ranking all of the bosses that give you, I think they're called remembrances, just like in Elden Ring, and you can reflect on the remembrances. So this one will be quick because there's not a lot of actual main bosses in this game. I think there's only 14 or 15 of them. Um, because if you were to include, like I said, if you were to include all the mini bosses, then there would be a lot more. But all the main bosses in the game, there's not a lot. And honestly, the Sekiro, the video game, is not that long either. I would say it's even shorter than Bloodborne. Obviously, if you do all of the content, and it's a lot more difficult than a lot of the games, so you're probably going to be spending a lot more time playing it. But if you just go straight through the main like areas and main objective and shit, then you could beat the game pretty quickly. It's not a very long game. Um, but that's besides the point. Let's get started with the first boss. I think his name is like Gyobu or something. Yes, Gyobu. Oh wow, that's a long name. He's the big horse guy, and he yells at you. He sees you. He's like, "I am Gyobu, and I'm gonna fucking kill you." This guy. Now, when I think, okay, let me preface this. Okay, let me preface before I get into the boss ranking. I think Sekiro is like the closest you can get to perfection in a video game, and I mean that. I really do mean that. I think Sekiro is the closest thing you can get to perfection in a video game. If like the only complaints one could have about the video game are like small nitpicks, like minor flaws that don't really actually take away from the overall game. Like with other games, it's like, oh, I'm not a fan of the bosses, and the bosses are a huge aspect about the game. Oh, I'm not a fan of the level design, or I'm not a fan of, the whole aesthetic. You know, it's like those are valid complaints. But when you talk about Sekiro, people only really seem to find complaints about small things like, oh, I don't like the fucking doll mechanic where you have to buy all these dolls and use your gadget, and it's like come on, dude, does that really take away from the game? Um, with that being said, I think the biggest flaw, in my opinion, about the game is um the fact that its difficulty, like, it has weird spikes in difficulty. This is a difficult game, and I would argue that it is the most difficult game out of any of the From Software games. If you're playing all of the games normally, then this is the most difficult game. It has the strangest learning curve, and at the beginning of the game, this is my biggest complaint. It's at the beginning of the game where the learning curve is the strongest, and they don't give you a break. Like they barely give you a tutorial, and they throw you right into the fire, and like it's really tough to overcome that challenge, especially as a new player. It probably turns off a ton of new players just because the game's way too difficult at the start. um Obviously, as a veteran like myself, coming back into the game and um fighting all of the early game bosses, it's not as hard as it once was. But I remember first playing the game and not even getting past the first mini boss. Like like you get past the tutorial of like sneaking around, you talk to the guy or the little boy, and he gives you your sword, and then you start going about. Once you face that first mini boss with like the big sword and he has 2 health bars, it's like I like my first time playing this game, I literally spent hours on that guy. I just couldn't get, it wasn't because like, oh, um like I could just like keep swinging at him and dodging. I really wanted to get down the fucking deflection system, the parry system. You know how you like, it's like I wanted to memorize his movement patterns and I wanted to deflect things. And it feels like the game didn't explain it well enough, and they didn't warm you up to the new mechanics of the game well enough before throwing you into the fire. And then you move on, you fight the fucking chained ogre mini boss, and it's like, what the fuck is that? Like, that shit's so fucking hard first time playing. It was crazy. And then you fight like Lady Butterfly, and that fucking fight is impossible when you first fight her. Um, but she's definitely one of the easier bosses now. Um, now that I'm a fucking pro. But I think that's probably my biggest complaint about the game is that the learning curve is very sharp and they do very little to help you out with it. And the difficulty spike, it spikes at the beginning of the game. And then it like fades away through the middle of the game and then it spikes again towards the very end. And it just doesn't make sense in a progression for with a progression standpoint. It makes the center chunk of the game kind of forgettable, and it really only makes the beginning and the end memorable in terms of a difficulty standpoint. But that's, like I said, a nitpick. That's a minor flaw within the grand scheme of perfection that Sekiro is, because it's not too big. It's not like Elden Ring where it's like on a massive fucking scale and it's like you really just can't control every little detail because the fucking game is so big. It controls itself, because the game isn't too big. It can control itself because the game is small enough to where you can pay attention to the details. You can really focus in on every little enemy and boss and structure because the game is small. And I like that. It's like a perfect game. Um, and that's my only really big complaint, honestly. With that being said, the first real boss that you encounter, not mini boss, the first real boss, one that drops a remembrance and you use it to like strengthen your character. It's Gyobu, the dude who rides on a horse and fucking yells a lot. All right, this guy is a great fight. I like his fight. Looking back on it now, like going back to it and playing through the game, it's a really easy fight. I think I defeated him first try, maybe second try, and um, but like I said, I remember struggling on this guy. I remember dying to this guy over and over again. So it's not like he's an easy boss. Okay, don't get it wrong. It's not an easy boss. It's just that I'm used to Sekiro's mechanics and the gameplay. I think Sekiro, if you go to my YouTube page, I think Sekiro might be my shortest series. Let's see. Playlists. Oh no, it's Demon Souls. Yeah, that's right. But in a close second, um, Sekiro is right there. So, um, it's a short game. So I'm feeling probably I'm feeling B tier with this guy. He's a great boss, great starting fight. I wouldn't describe him as a tutorial fight. There isn't much of a tutorial in this game. I guess the tutorial fight would be like that first mini boss that you face after they, teach you a few mechanics. They just throw up some tutorial menus and you read them and you act like okay, I understand, yeah. And then when you get thrown into the fight trying to teach you what you were just reading, it doesn't really work out. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't describe this guy as a tutorial fight. But he is the first real boss that you encounter, and he's a great boss. He's fast. His arena is cool. I mean, you fight him in a battlefield and it's like on fire, and there's like dead bodies laying about and weapons laying about. It's a cool battlefield, and you fight him. He's on a horse. He has like a rope attached to his spear, which gives him a ton of different moves. You'll notice that a lot of these bosses have super like detailed move sets, and um I don't even think like Elden Ring could like compare or match up to the move sets that a lot of these bosses have. Like it's crazy like the amount of different moves that they can pull off in different positions depending on where your character is. Like this guy has a ton of different moves and it's hard to keep up, but it's fun. It's cool and he's really fun to learn. I would say a couple of the downsides are um first of all, he just doesn't feel as cinematic as other characters. He doesn't feel as important. I don't really know much about the lore about this guy. Um, I don't know. Like everything is there with his fight, but everything else about the fight, like the lore, the soundtrack, um, like who he is or why he's important, like it's not really there. And he's not as like I said, he's not as cinematic or as epic as the other fights. He's not as challenging as the other fights either. Um, So it's just it's a good fight, but it could definitely be a lot more detailed. And it's but for the starting fight, it's a great fight, honestly. So B tier, high B tier. He'll probably be the best in B tier. Next, we move on to Lady Butterfly. Now, Lady Butterfly, I'm gonna go back to my first playthrough every single time. The first time I fought Lady Butterfly, it was a struggle. I hated this bitch. I hated this bitch. Like her moveset was just so fucking quick and I literally couldn't keep up. It felt like she wasn't telegraphing any of her moves. In reality, I just wasn't properly reading her moves. Um, because now I fight her and I think I defeated her first try if you look at my playthrough. Um, she really isn't that hard. And looking back at that first playthrough, it was like, wow, that was really stupid. I really just think it was the second phase and the fact that I didn't understand that you could use items to, alleviate a lot of those uh, problems with the second phase that I had. Um, or you could just bombard her with a ton of attacks and she doesn't use that like clone ability. That's what I did with what I when I streamed my playthrough. Um, but overall, as a fight, she's nothing too special. She's not. I don't think she's better than Gyobu. Her arena is cool. You fight her in this like underground shelter that's fucking burning and on fire, and the Buddha statues in the background for some reason. That's pretty sick. Shout out to the Buddha. And um, you have to like go back in time to your memories to fight her. It's weird, but super interesting. And there's a ton of lore, surrounding her fight and her character. It turns out, when you defeat her, it was actually not her who stabbed you in the back, but it was your father who left you there to die. Um, and it was, the little boy that had to use his like dragon droplet blood to save you. And that's why you end up here today, being able to revive yourself and everything. So it's pretty cool background lore. Um, but the fight itself, it just isn't as gripping as it once was. It wasn't. It's not as difficult as it once was, and um, I don't know. The fight itself isn't anything too special. It's I don't know. Ranking Sekiro bosses is weird because they all have like amazing move sets and they all have, super complex different types of angles that they can come at you with and they're super detailed when it comes to the actual fighting mechanics. So when I think a boss is like not that good, it's hard to find like actual problems with them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to identify those problems and then compare them to other bosses. Um, but listen, this is my fucking tier list. She's a B tier boss. She's not bad. Um, but I think Yobu's a little better. I like his voice actor better too. Both the Japanese and the English dub. I think Gyobu's killing it. Okay. So, moving on. You fight Genichiro. And at this point in the game, it seems like very early because like you fight Genichiro at the beginning of the game and he chops your arm off And it's like, wow, I'm already fighting this guy. This should feel like a final boss. Like, why am I fighting this guy already? But wait, there's more. And you fight Genichiro. Um, and this is an A tier fight. You fight Genichiro like 3 times or 4 times throughout the fucking game. Um, but this fight in particular, the when you go on top of the Ishin Castle Tower for the first time and you fight him, that's the best version of him, I think. And you get to learn how to parry lightning, and doing that is so fucking satisfying. His move set is so much fun. Um, the lore is really cool. The like I said, the arena is like in terms of like the foreground, it's just like wooden floor paneling and like a sky view. But when you're actually like taking into account like you have the view of the entire Ashina castle, um, then it's pretty fucking cool where the arena's set. Um, and he's great. He's just great. The only reason he's not S tier is because literally he's there's better to come. Okay? There's just better to come. He's not S tier because there's better and I can think of more satisfying movesets to fight. Um but no, he's a great fight. Um when I first fought him, I loved memorizing his combos. He was probably um this is gonna sound weird. He's probably one of the few bosses that I actually enjoy dying to. And it's kind of like low key a theme with this game. There's some bosses in this game in particular where it's like you kind of like dying to them. Or at least that's what it was like for me because it was like, okay, no, I get it now. That's where I need to deflect. That's what I need to do. Oh, that's when that combo ends. Like learning these bosses because the depth of their moveset is, you know, they're deep in their bag when they're fighting you. So it's just so much fun learning their move sets, and Genichiro was really the first one where I found it so satisfying to learn his move set, to learn how to parry and deflect all of his moves, and that fucking lightning counter. Oh my god! Every time I like, every time I got that lightning counter, it's so satisfying. It's so fucking cool. So he's A tier, and moving on, we have folding screen monkeys. um. Dude, is this the worst fight in the game? I'm looking at these other bosses and I don't see a single one that's worse than this fight. Now, because it's a gimmick fight. It's a puzzle fight. And you have to kill 4 monkeys and see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, and then a fourth one. um I guess. And you have to like do these different things to work around their disabilities. So like I said, one can't see you, but he can hear you. He has like heightened hearing, so he can hear your footsteps when you walk up on him. So something you can do is bang that gong to deafen his hearing and then walk up to him and kill him. Um One is like speak no evil, or I mean see or hear no evil or something. So every time he saw you, he would fucking yell, and he would let the other monkeys know like, "Hey, you need to get out of here. He's coming." So it was like it's a cool gimmick and it's a cool idea, and it's a really pretty arena. It's a super big arena that gives you a bunch of different like movement options. It's like a weirdly big arena. Um, like it's like an entire like building that you're scaling while fighting this thing, or these monkeys. And it's really interesting, but the fight itself is once you understand the gimmick, it's easy. And that's the problem with a lot of, gimmick fights where you have to like solve a puzzle or something. Once you understand the puzzle and know how to solve it, then you will never ever struggle with the fight again. And you'll never ever have that first experience with the fight ever again. Like once I found out that the fucking invisible monkey is just sitting right behind you the entire time, the first thing I always do whenever I start the fucking fight is just look behind me and kill him, you know? So I think I'm gonna give it D tier because I think I'm gonna give it D tier because I like the idea. The arena is pretty. It's just I I don't think the execution was very good, and it's kind of just an annoying, tedious fight at the end of the day. Um, and I said that was the worst fight. I think I'm correct, but you're gonna notice that I'm probably not gonna put anything in F tier. So why is there an F tier? Why did you put an F tier there? Because it's symbolic. It shows how I really feel about this game and how I truly feel that there is no absolutely terrible boss in this game. All right. There is a worst, but even the worst one has some redeeming qualities. Okay? The worst boss fight in this game is the best boss fight in Demon Souls. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Um, but he would definitely rank. But the Floating Screen Monkeys would definitely rank up there if it was a Demon Souls fight. He'd be like B or A tier. Moving on. Um, wow. So moving on, we have the Guardian Ape, I guess, and then phase two, where or when you fight him again. The first time you fight him, I like the fight. The whole gimmick where you cut his head off and you think you've killed him, but then he's not really dead, and he comes back to life. He fucking starts fucking going even crazier. I liked that. That like that's an unexpected thing that if it's your first time playing, it's like, what the fuck just happened? He should be dead. I chopped his head off. But then you discover that that centipede is within him, so you take it out and kill the centipede. Um, I'm gonna be honest. In terms of the lore of the game, I am not completely sure why like centipedes are the things that grant immunity and eternal life in some cases, because that fucking ape wouldn't die. You know what I'm saying? You had to rip the centipede out and kill the centipede. I'm not sure why that's how that works. Um, and if that's the case, then why do you have to fight him a second time? I don't know. I don't know. But the first fight I think is probably the better one. I'm gonna put the first fight into B tier. I'm gonna put him right in between Lady Maria and Gyobu. I do like the first fight. And I like that he what is it? Is he either throws up on you or he shits on you? Like he throws his shit at you like an actual ape would. And um, I find that hilarious, and it literally poisons you. I find it so funny. Um, but I do like the first fight. I do like the twist that he's still alive even after you cut his head off. And I think the first time you fight him, it's really fun. But the second time you fight him, it becomes a duo fight where his fucking bitch wife wants to join the fucking arena, and all of a sudden it becomes this fucking like fuck fest. like why the fuck is his wife here and why is he still alive? Why is he still alive? Um Mad annoying. But it's not terrible. It's really all it just boils down to is it's the headless ape. It's the second phase of the first fight again with him, and then his wife is just there to stomp around sometimes. It's not really that creative. Um, I don't know why they decided to bring it back, and I don't know why he is a remembrance fight. But he's still more fun than the folding screen monkeys because he's an actual fight. But this is gonna be our first C tier boss. Not a fan. Yeah, not a huge fan of the you know the duplicate boss fight, but you add a fucking another ape. Like I'm just not a huge fan of that. Moving on, we have the corrupt monk. I think that's what it's called. Yes, the corrupt monk, and then there's the true corrupted monk. The corrupt monk fight, the first time you fight corrupted monk, is a weird fight because um and I don't know if I experienced this with the true corrupt monk, but the first time I fought corrupt monk, I noticed that his or her posture bar, I think it's a her posture bar recharged immediately. Even as she was attacking you, if you weren't actively like in her face deflecting her, and trading her, then her posture bar would recharge. Even as she was attacking, her posture bar would recharge. It was like the craziest, weirdest thing. And I always thought that was bullshit. I still think to this day that it shouldn't be that way. That does feel like a little bit of bullshit. Luckily, she's pretty aggressive, so she's constantly swinging at you. But it just makes the fight drag. Um, I'm not a huge fan of that mechanic. So, but other than that, but I think that's a pretty valid complaint, honestly. Other than that, the fight is decent. It's only one phase, and um, it's I like the fight. It's just that the true corrupt monk is better. Okay, if you're just gonna make a fight immediately better, it kind of puts a blemish on the older fight, if that makes sense. I think I know I said that Gyobu's gonna be the best in B tier. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think that she will honestly be the top of B tier. I think she's a great fight. A little better than Gyobu. I personally, it's because she has that one move where she constantly like spins and spins, and you have to time that dodge over and over for like 10 hits in a row. I love that attack. She just has a combo that I find so satisfying to deflect. That's the only reason she's ranking above Gyobu right now. So, yeah. But now we move on to True Corrupted Monk, and this is an A tier fight. This is an A tier fight. My brother would probably argue that this is S tier, but I have two complaints with this fight. First of all, it's a three-phase fight, and the second phase is a complete joke. The second phase is supposed to, confuse you. It all becomes foggy, and she starts attacking you from the fog, and you don't really know what to do. But once you figure out that you just have to jump up into the tree, and then wait a little bit, and then you can jump back down onto her and get that like backstab thing. Once you understand that, then the second phase is a complete joke. You just completely skip through the second phase. This fight might as well be just be a two-phase fight because the second phase can be completely skipped. You know what I'm saying? And that's the intended way to do it. That's not like some glitch or some cheese that fans found out about this fight. No, that's the intended way to do it. You're supposed to get the jump on her. It's weird. My second complaint about this fight is that in the third phase, she has I forgot what the exact moves were, but she has two things in her third phase. She does terror buildup, which is stupid. I fucking hate that. And she has like a couple of moves where in the first phase, I remember now. In the first phase, you're supposed to jump over like a move that's like a parryless move where you can't like deflect it, so you have to like either roll away from it or you Makiri counter or something. But instead, in the third phase, um, she does when she does those moves that she was originally doing in the first phase, she then follows up with like a bunch of terror like attacks or whatever. Or is it terror or is it poison that she does? Let's see. Um, wait, what? I forgot what it was.
You'll face this attack that has.
Yeah, is it poison that she does? Sorry, dude. I'm stealing your content right now. Yeah, I think it's poison. I don't think it's terror. So, but still, poison's annoying as fuck. But she does these attacks where in her first phase, all you have to do is jump over it and jump on her head or something. But in the third phase, she does those exact same attacks, and instead of being able to jump on her head and completely counter it, she does like a poison attack follow up. And that's super fucking annoying, and it completely negates any counterplay that you had in mind. So it's like you have to throw away a lot of the shit that you learned about her moveset in the first phase when you get to her third phase. So managing that within your mind every time you fight her, okay, I'm beginning the fight. This is her first phase. I have to keep all that shit in mind. Okay, now we're moving on to the third phase, and I'm gonna throw out like half her moveset. You know what I'm saying? Um, Like managing that within your mind is super weird because you'll see that fucking symbol pop up and you're like, oh shit, jump. And then it's like, oh fuck, I knew that. This is the 10th time I fucking did that. But that's besides the point. That's more of a nitpick, honestly. How you have to like unlearn a part of her. That's just weird. Um, but my big flaw is like the second phase. Like, why do you even have a second phase? um, so she ranks A tier. I think Genichiro's fight is better, honestly. So she ranks A tier. And then after that, what do? You move on to the Divine Dragon. That's right. So the Divine Dragon is another gimmick fight, but it is visually pretty as fuck. Probably the second most visually stunning fight in this game. Um, it's super pretty. You're in the sky fighting this divine dragon. Um, and the soundtrack is amazing for this fight as well. The visual is great. Everything other than the actual fight is great. But like I said, or I don't know if I said it, but this is a gimmick fight. And basically you have to like do these like crazy big jumps to dodge his moves. But the game gives you like these vines to jump on or whatever the fuck, these trees to jump on, and you basically just grapple around the arena, jump over his attacks, attack him with some fucking wind, and he'll fucking die. It's a pretty easy fight. I think it's just meant to be like, oh, this is so visually cool. Oh, this is really satisfying, isn't it? But in terms of the actual combat, it's not very riveting. It's not very difficult. The actual fight itself is forgettable. It's the visual that I remember. It's the opening cutscene. It's, looking at the dragon for the first time, seeing him sprout out of the ground, seeing him swing his sword, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what you remember. I think probably gonna rank him in C tier. Because I don't think he's D tier. I still think the folding screen monkeys are the worst in this entire game, and I don't think he's on the level of that because at least he has an amazing visual um to go along with it and a great soundtrack. The folding screen monkeys is like, what the fuck am I doing? But yeah, still a decent fight, just lacking in the combat industry. Moving on, we're gonna rank this guy first. So, in my playthrough of Sekiro, the one that I streamed, I did it was kind of like a basic ending. It was like one of the two default endings. Um, I forgot that I could do like a secret ending, sort of. And in order to do it, and the secret ending, um, gatekeeps a um a fucking boss fight, which is really unfortunate because the boss fight that it gatekeeps is amazing. I've played Sekiro multiple times, and the boss fight that it gatekeeps is the true Owl Father. That's what it's called. Owl or just Owl Father. Cause oh yeah, there's the Great Shinobi Owl, which is his first fight, and then the Owl Father, which is like fighting him in his prime. So he has a completely different moveset and everything. Um, but the only way you're able to fight him is if you unlock that secret ending. And I didn't do that in my playthrough, the one that I streamed, but I have done it before, so just to let you know, I have fought him. And then there's a different ending where you can cut the game off early, and you can end the game when your father's like, join me and betray your master. And if you choose to do that, then you fight Ishin. You still fight Ishin anyway, but it's like the Ishin in the white robes, and you also fight Emma, the gentle blade. So that's honestly a really sad fight, and you can already tell when you make that decision. It's like, oh man, I made the wrong decision. I definitely chose the bad ending, um, making this decision. But I've made the decision. I've made the decision because I wanted to fight this guy. I wanted to see what the ending was like. So, um, when your dad basically gives you the choice and you choose to side with your dad instead of the divine heir or whatever, the child that you've been protecting throughout the entire game. You go to that bad ending and you fight Ishin and Emma. And the first phase, it's kind of similar to the other um Ishin fight, the final boss fight, where it's the first phase is like a different person, but then Ishin comes out and fights you. Um, I will say that the first phase of the fight, it's super easy, but um, it's really sad. Like it actually gets you in your feels because Emma is just such a nice girl, and she's only been helping you throughout the entire game, and she only has the best interest for the good people in this game, including you. And then you turn around, stab her in the back. It's like you really do feel like the villain in that first phase of the fight. And then old man Ishin gets up out of his, um, sleep, his drunken sleep from drinking too much sake, and he comes to fight you, and the whole arena is burning down around you, and you fight him one on one. And honestly, he has such a cool moveset in this version of the fight versus in the final boss fight. Um, I think this fight is super underrated, honestly. I'm gonna probably put this in A tier. The lore, how sad it is, Ishin's alternative moveset I think is super fun. You fight him on top of Ashina Castle while it's burning, really cool. Um, like there's not really much to complain about this fight. It's the only complaint, the only thing that takes away from it is that there's another version of Ishin in this game, and we'll get to him, okay? The other version of Ishin, just know that he's better, okay? So that's the only thing keeping this thing from S tier. Now we move on to Owl Father. Or no. We don't move on to Owl Father. We move on to Great Shinobi Owl. And this you fight this guy if you choose to side with the child that you've been protecting throughout the entire game, the divine heir. If you choose to side with him and go against your father, you fight your father. And this guy, he's another great fight. Okay? Either decision you make, you're gonna get two A tier fights. I personally think that this fight is slightly better, but they both rank A tier, and I would probably put him right here. I think I'd probably put him right here. He has a fun moveset. He fights dirty, which is interesting that he's also your adopted father and you're supposed to listen to his word. Like his word is the ultimate word you're supposed to be listening to, but he fights dirty. Like, is this really someone you want to be listening to? You know what I'm saying? Like he throws sand in your eye. He uses fireworks. Um, it's weird the way he fights, and it kind of says a lot about his character. Um, it's really interesting. I think I may be misremembering, but he has a move where like he tackles you. like what? Like use your fucking sword, dude. This is weird. But yeah. Um Honestly, this is a great fight. A tier. I still think that the alternative Ishin fight is better and probably gonna be the best in A tier, but um the Great Owl is still a great fight. Or whatever. The Great Shinobi Owl. I like this. Now we move on to the Demon of Hatred. All right. I don't know. Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna say something crazy. I don't like this fight. All right. And this might be if my brother were out here with me right now, this might be the point of the conversation where he completely disagrees with me. Um. Oh my bad. I actually didn't even see this. My bad, Jay. Juva arc. Probably not tonight. If you hold on, if you text me, I'll probably just text you. Hold on, my bad. Or actually, I guess I could arc a little later, but not unless my fucking brother's gonna be yelling in the background. All right, just had to text my friend. He was just in the chat, asking about arc raiders. Um, so anyway, I don't like the Demon of Hatred. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I think okay, let's start with the positives, okay? The lore is really cool. The fact that he's like the sculptor and he's all of the hatred and anger that he's been, holding within his soul to protect others. He's like the amalgamation of that, and then you finally fight that. I think that's really cool. The design of him, he looks cool as fuck. The Demon of Hatred, he looks like a demon. He's on fire. He looks sick as shit. Um, that's probably the end of the positives. The big problem I have with this fight is um low key the same problem I had with some of the parts of the true monk fight, the true corrupted monk fight, where you have to like unlearn some of her moveset because she switches it up in the third phase. Like, now imagine that, except you have to unlearn basically everything the game has been teaching you throughout the entire game when you fight this guy. When you fight this guy, you do not want to deflect because if you deflect, you just get set on fire. And when you get set on fire, a little animation plays and your health starts trickling down and then you'll get hit for real and he does a shit ton of damage. So that's already annoying. Second of all, he's a little too big for his own good. Um, so when you're actually up close, like swiping at him, it's hard to see what move he's gonna do because he's too big and he's off camera partially when you're like up close and personal next to him trying to fight him. Um, and like I said, you have to unlearn all of what the game has been teaching you up until this point in order to defeat this guy. So no deflecting, no parrying. And the whole fucking game's combat system is about deflecting and parrying. And the way you defeat this guy is basically you want to run around. Instead of deflecting, you want to play Dark Souls and you want to dodge his moves. You want to use the dodge button and the dash button. And it's completely unintuitive. It makes no sense why they would throw a boss like this into the game, especially such a late game boss. And it really feels like artificial difficulty, where it's just like, oh, you're expecting this, and it just throws a complete curveball at you. And I will say a redeeming quality about the combat of this fight is that in Sekiro you have infinite stamina, so, you can dash infinitely, you can dodge roll infinitely, and you could run infinitely, and so you are a lot faster than the boss, but that doesn't make up for the fact that it makes you unlearn what the game has been teaching you throughout the entire game. And that doesn't make for good combat. Like that doesn't make for fun combat. The fact that you're constantly running away from the boss, just trying to find small openings where you can hit him once or twice, dodging around, like it's just like that doesn't make for fun combat. It made for fun combat maybe in the other games, but it doesn't work in Sekiro. At least that's what I think. So, because of that major flaw I have with this boss, I'm gonna put him in C tier. I probably think he might be the worst boss in C tier. Because at least the Divine Dragon is cool to fight. It's satisfying. Um, I might put the Divine Dragon at the top of C tier. I'm just not a huge fan of the Demon of Hatred. I just had bad experiences with it. Okay, my bad. All right, moving on. We have the true Owl Father, or just Owl Father, I guess. And now this is like the sequel to Shinobi Owl or whatever the fuck. And um it's a much better version of the Shinobi Owl fight. And it goes our first S tier. We're almost towards the end of the game and this is our first S tier. But to be fair, there's a lot of A and B tiers, so that's crazy. Maybe it's just my standards, my way of thinking, but I guess when I'm ranking Sekiro bosses, it's like they're all like they all like kind of um like form into one when you think about like the pace of the game, the type of combat of the game. It's like weird. You know what I'm saying? Um I don't know. Uh but this guy is a great fight. You go back in time to your memory of, when you fought Lady Butterfly, you fight him in the exact same arena and it's like you're fighting him in his prime, and you're fighting him before he gets the chance to like stab you in the back. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you could get your revenge, even though it never happened. So it's not really any revenge. It's weird. It's weird, but it's a great fight. Like I said, I like the arena of Lady Butterfly anyway, of the burning building and the Buddha statue in the background. It's super pretty, and the fight is just amazing, really fast paced. Um, Honestly, there's literally no complaints I have about this fight. He is literally the upgraded version of Shinobi Owl, which is already a great fight. So, um, yeah, I have zero complaints about this guy. But he is not the best fight in the game. All right, he's our first S tier. Um, but he's not the only one because we have one more main fight in the game, and that is John Sekiro. It's Ishin. Sword Saint Ishin. Um, and this is the final boss of the game. The best, greatest final boss, not just in the From Software games, but possibly in every game ever, history ever, ever. I cannot praise this boss fight enough. Ishin is a great boss fight and probably the best final boss of any From Software game, and the best final boss. You could probably make the argument for gaming history. Okay, this guy, it's the perfect fight. It's the perfect fight. The visuals are stunning. Like you fight him in this field of reeds with a storm in the background, and that's like a moonlit arena. It's so fucking pretty, and the lore is also insane. How I mean, the first phase is Genichiro, but Genichiro's like fucking lost his mind, and he literally like springs out of Genichiro, and like he fucking just fucking rips off Genichiro's face and just crawls out of him, and now you fight not Prime Ishin, but like the best version of Ishin that you're gonna get. Like it's crazy. Um, and all three phases of Ishin's fight is perfection. He has a fucking pistol. He's wielding the lightning again. Oh my god, countering that lightning is so satisfying against Ishin. It's so good. It's so good. And dude, like the lore is fucking amazing. He's the final boss and he's the best boss in the entire game. What games do that? Like I can't like what games do that? What games make the final boss the best boss? It's hard to do that. And Sekiro has done it. It's so fucking good. I have literally zero complaints about this fight. You can go watch my playthrough. Go to the final episode of the Sekiro playthrough that I did. You could see I struggled with this guy for a little bit, but dude, he is just so satisfying to fight. Ishin is an S tier fight. That's all. That's all. He's the best fight in the entire game. And you could probably make a pretty solid argument that he's the best fight in the entire From Software Souls-like series. Out of all the Dark Souls games, out of Bloodborne, out of Elden Ring, out of all of the games, you could argue that Ishin is the best fight. And I wouldn't be mad at that argument. He's just amazing. If you go look at my playthrough, you can see I struggled with this guy. And the final attempt I had with him, the one that I beat him on, I deflected his lightning 3 times. It was so satisfying. It was the most cinematic fight I think I have ever had in while playing these games. It was fucking insane. Um, It was just so fucking beautiful. And I can't praise this final fight enough. It's phenomenal. Phenomenal. So, um, that's the final boss. I know there are smaller fights that are like really unique, but technically they aren't like remembrance fights where they give you memories and that you use those memories to strengthen your character. Technically speaking, those are the main fights of the game, and that's what I'm ranking. But if you're curious on like some of the like smaller fights of the game, like more like mini bosses, but still unique bosses, I guess I could just like rattle them off in my head. Um, the Flaming Bull, I'd probably rank him in like C tier. Um, he's a cool fight, but really one-dimensional. He looks cool, and it's satisfying to deflect that like head ramming move, but you know, he also sets you on fire, which is just fucking annoying. The fire status effect in Sekiro is so fucking annoying to deal with. It's like unusually annoying in this game as opposed to other games. Um, but I would probably rank the Raging Bull C tier. Um, Another one that comes off of the top of the head is the knight, the fucking like medieval knight that you randomly find on a bridge that you fight. I'd probably rank that guy B tier just because he's so unique. Um, and the way that you kill him is, sending him off the fucking bridge to fall to his death. I think that's really cool, and he has like funny voice acting. It's pretty cool. Um, but he's not anything too special. He's not like the most cinematic fight ever. So I probably wouldn't put him in A tier. But he's a fun, like cool, quirky fight that's really unique. Um, Another fight that I think of, like a mini boss fight that's pretty unique, um, is like that ghost lady, the crying lady that you find in like I think it's called the Sunken Village or something. I don't know, the Hidden Village. Um, you fight her before you fight the corrupted monk, and um, if I were to rank her, honestly, I'd probably put her in B tier as well, like low B tier. I just think her fight, it I it her fight is super unique in terms of the combat mechanics because it's slow. Like she like floats around and um she dances around you, and instead of like hitting you with like all they have and these long combos where you have to deflect and you have to be perfect, what I'm saying, that's like every other enemy. But her moves, it's like she hits you once or twice and then she floats around and then she charges back in. It's like a weird fight, but it makes it really unique, and it's weird to time her like deflects because it's such a weird timing that she has compared to other enemies. Um, and I do like the fact, I don't know, I just think that the visual is cool of like a weeping woman being so dangerous. Um, and like she's crying throughout the entire fight. It's like really spooky, really haunting. I love the visuals. You fight her in a graveyard, like a foggy graveyard. Super sick. And I think I would probably put that in like low B tier. Because of the uniqueness of the fight. Um, what some of the other ones that I can think of? Oh, if I were to rank the headless mini boss, I'd put him in F tier. He would be the worst fight in the entire fucking game. That's it. Like worse than folding screen monkeys. If I had to rank the headless mini boss, I would definitely rank him in F tier. And they fucking copy and paste him like 5 times throughout the game. It's so fucking annoying. Just the way he attacks, he always has like status effects. Like I think it's always the terror status effect. Sometimes you have to fight him underwater, which is just who the fuck thought of that? Who the fuck thought of that? That is the worst idea. um, that sucks. If the Chained Ogre was here, if I had to rank the Chained Ogre, I'd probably put him in like high C tier. He's nothing too special. Like after you fight him a couple times, it feels like he only has like 4 moves. He's one of the less developed sort of bosses or mini bosses in this game. He has like a fucking drop kick move. He has a couple moves where he tries to grab you, and then he has a move where he slams the floor. All you have to really do is dodge the moves where he tries to grab you. That's the hardest part. But once you do that, then he's an easy fight. Um, Chained Ogre, angry guy, red eyes. Looks cool, intimidating, but not much to him. So I'd probably put him in like low C tier. Um, can't really think of like anything else, honestly. Any other memorable like mini boss fight? The other mini bosses are like just regular samurai that have like a long samurai sword, and they have like a semi unique move set. That's like the only other mini bosses that I can think of. Um, but yeah, that's all. There's not much else to talk about when it comes to Sekiro. I mean, it's a short game. It's honestly a short game, but there's a ton of content, if that makes sense. There's a ton of optional stuff that you can easily miss in the game, and it takes multiple playthroughs to solidify how you really feel about the game. You know what I'm saying? And I've played through it multiple times. I think I've beaten it about 3 or 4 times now, um, throughout my life. So, and I've loved it every time. I love Sekiro. Like I said, I really do think it is the closest thing you can get to perfection, when it comes to video games. So, love Sekiro. Love it. Love it. Love it. I can't praise it enough. Yeah. Let me know how you guys feel about my rankings of these bosses. Let me know if I got anything right, if I got anything wrong, how you feel about certain bosses. I'd love to hear the feedback. Um, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. And Elden Ring tier list, boss fight tier list is coming soon, very soon. All right, so stay tuned for that. Um, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you later. Bye bye.